So this video is for you. If you got into self-development with the aim of achieving certain goals, whether that's a specific lifestyle that you wanted to live, or health and vitality, or attracting a romantic partner, or maybe you wanted to build a business, right? Whatever it might be, you had these goals and you got into self-development hoping that that's what's going to help you achieve them. But years later, even though it may look like you've made some progress on the outside, inside, you still feel like you're not even close to operating at your full potential. In fact, you haven't really got anything out of it that you originally wanted. And I'm making this video specifically for you because I know you got on this journey with good intentions. Maybe to make a lot of money to create freedom. Maybe to heal and gain your health back. Maybe to take care of your family and help others reach their goals, right? But somewhere along the way, you got sold on this lie that you're somehow broken and you need to fix yourself first before you can have these things, which prevents you from achieving them in the first place. And I know that because for a long time I felt the same way. See, I grew up in a home where it was the 10 of us living together. So both my dad and my uncle decided to start their own families in my grandparents' home. So technically I grew up with my cousins, right? And it was great. Lots of playing together, lots of love in the family. But on the flip side, we didn't necessarily have as much privacy as you might wish for as a developing child, or even as an adult for that matter. And for some reason, that impacted me personally so much that all my life, I was focused on trying to achieve freedom, like independency from anything and everything. I didn't want to have to depend on my family or on a boss or anyone else one bit. And I was around 14, 15, 16 years old when I first got introduced to different methods, modalities, and books that help people achieve their goals. And that was also the first time when I thought, oh shit, like things don't have to be this way. I actually have the power to change my circumstances. And I got hooked on self-development for life because I had this insatiable thirst for knowledge. Like I knew I wasn't satisfied in the circumstances that I had to live in every single day, but I also knew there was information out there that could possibly help me change them one day. So I kept reading books, watching videos, enrolling into courses one after another, and I felt like I was learning and I was making progress, and that soon I would know enough, I would finally have enough information to live a life I always wanted. However, this pattern just continued on for years without any actual results. See, in my early 20s, I joined a travel club as a sales rep, like an affiliate partner. And that opportunity was advertised as a vehicle where you could achieve total time and financial freedom. Exactly what I was looking for. But instead of building it, I approached it from the perspective of, I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to have to read every single book I can, watch every tutorial I can get my hands on, travel to and attend every single training event I can afford, so that one day I can have enough information to build a successful business and have the freedom that I want. And of course that didn't work because I realized, only years later, that instead of focusing on and actually directly working towards my goal of building a business, I was instead caught up in my unconscious agenda saying I am not capable. And to compensate for that, I always pursued more and more information, more and more resources, more and more knowledge, so that I can become capable to have what I wanted. Now, this isn't the only trap, by the way. In total, there are as many as, I believe, 12 different limiting beliefs we can have, but there are 6 main ones that most people can recognize themselves in. And these are, I am not perfect, I am not worthy, I am not good enough, I am not capable, I don't belong, and I'm insignificant. And the reason they are so tricky is because if you're not aware and you don't know how they work, they can easily hijack your focus and put you back into fixing yourself instead of focusing on what you want to achieve. See, the main problem here is that you start out with this belief. And by the way, real experts, like people who wrote books on this subject, still argue to this day if these beliefs were formed in early childhood or if they are passed down through your family system, or if you want to be more esoteric, some people suggest that before you're even born, you sort of voluntarily take on this wound to experience limitation this way. So I would actually love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. So if you have any idea, feel free to let me know where you think they come from or how you think they develop. But the point is, regardless of what the truth is, we know we have them. Most people have at least one of these beliefs. And the problem with that is in trying to compensate for them for years, over and over and over again, you end up getting entangled with them and you merge them into your main identity. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just say you didn't receive love as a child from your parents, or you only did when you did something impressive. So then this belief forms in your mind that I am not loved for who I am, or I am not significant unless I achieve. So you go out there and you try to impress your parents with different accomplishments. Maybe as a kid, you get good grades. Then as a young adult, you get great at sports, or you go on to become a doctor or an engineer just to please them, even if that's not what you actually want to do. And that's what we call being in your unconscious agenda. I talked about this earlier, but you only choose the type of life you want to live with your conscious mind. But that alone doesn't mean anything, because it's your unconscious mind that decides whether that's safe for you to have or not. So it either allows it into existence or it denies it. And since your unconscious mind's main purpose is to keep you safe and ensure your survival, if your core belief is that you're only loved if you achieve stuff, then you'll completely ignore your own desires and you will keep getting pulled back into your unconscious agenda that says, no, you have to keep focusing on stacking these accomplishments here because that's what's going to get you the approval. Who cares about your passion? You have to become successful in the eyes of your parents that mean to you so much. And this is why, unfortunately, so many people are completely out of touch with their own true desires, with their own true end results, because for decades they were trying to please others and only pursue goals they thought would get them claps. So the first step of the 5-step creation process is that you choose a true end result, something that you would love to create, something that you would love to experience for no reason other than you would love it, not because it solves a problem. For example, building an ELF business, an easy, lucrative, and fun business. Why? Because it's fun, because that's what you choose, right? Maybe you love the freedom aspect of it, or the fact that you can make a positive impact on others, or the idea of making money in the process, right? It's a true end result. You do it because you love it. But if you say, I choose to build a business because I hate my current job, see, that fixes a problem. And the problem with that is, in that case, you simply won't have enough energy to keep going and building it long enough to be successful at it. See, we call these a negative vision. So instead of a negative vision, you want to choose a true end result, something you would love to create just because. As a second step, so now you have your true end result, right? In step 2, you want to measure your current reality to that end result that you're shooting for. So you say, I choose to make 20K with an ELF business, right? And right now I'm at 4K or 6K per month or whatever. And as step 3, you step into the end result emotionally. You think as though you already achieved it. And the magic of this is that when you observe your true end result and your current reality at the same time, that sets up a structural tension. And when you step into the emotion of the end result and you're experiencing it, you're living it as if it's already real right now, that activates your intuition and it pulls in superconscious wisdom so that you can advise your own self, your own past self, on what action step to take next to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And once you have that action step in your mind, you will probably feel some resistance to it. Because by nature, anytime you go for something new, our unconscious mind resists it. Remember, its only job is to keep you safe. Resistance means standing against something, and that's exactly what it's doing. It wants to sabotage you moving forward. And that's when the superconscious recode comes into the picture as step 4. Once we put you into your creative structure and trigger the resistance that's in the way, that's the best time to connect to your superconscious, which is, by the way, the 3rd layer of our consciousness, and it's basically a memory structure. So we connect to it and we recondition your unconscious mind using the superconscious by giving it a few simple commands. And the way it works is it takes the charge out of all the traumas that you experienced and all the beliefs that you picked up either in early childhood or in your previous lives. It doesn't really matter. The point is you work this resistance out of your system and you teach your unconscious mind that it's safe for you to have that end result that you want to go for, so that at step 5, you can take the next obvious action, which can be masculine action, planting seeds, making calls, charging forward, making things happen, or feminine action, nurturing the seed, cultivating the soil, grounding yourself, etc., etc. The Hermetic principles say that both are needed for creation. So there you go. If you feel like self-development doesn't work for you, just like it doesn't work for so many other people either, it's probably because you've been caught up in a loop of fixing yourself and operating in a problem-solving structure. Leave that behind by setting up a creative structure where you focus on what you want to create instead of trying to fix the way you feel you're broken. Because you're not broken. You're superconscious. You just forgot how to live that way. So if you found this helpful and you'd like more content like this, feel free to drop a like and a comment, and also join my free Skool community where you'll find a whole course on this with a lot more details. And if you'd like my personal help in either getting clear on what it is that you would love to create in your life, or removing your resistance so you can take the action you know you should be taking, then feel free to book a free strategy call with me. If it's a good fit, we can discuss how I can help you become a superconscious creator in just a few short months, so you can get to a point where if you think of something, you can just go for it without any second thought, without fear of failure, fear of success, procrastination, any of that bullshit. If not, I'd still encourage you to book a call, because that first session alone typically helps people gain more clarity than they could achieve themselves in 2, 3, 4, 5 years of self-help. You'll find the link for that in the description. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon, and I'll see you in the next one.